Hello, I'm going to do a quick video today on how I wash my cars. I'm often asked how I wash them, how I keep them so clean. There's a lot of information on the internet on how to wash cars. It's really not rocket science. If you like to take your car outside and get a hose and get a spray foamer and you want to foam the whole car and let the foam drip off, that's wonderful. You're not going to hurt it. It takes time. So if you're a detailer and you want to make some money, that's probably not recommended. It looks cool. I understand that it attracts viewers. That's not how I wash my cars. I have not, in the traditional sense, taken my car outside with a hose and soap and got my suds going and washed my car like that in about 10 years. I always wash my cars inside. A whole car takes less than a gallon of water, and that's the way I do it. Marring is absolutely minimal. You can wash it this way for a couple of years, and honestly, your wash-induced marring will be minimal. So I use Infinite Use Detail Juice. You can go on Garry Dean's website, or you can find him on YouTube. He's been around a while. This is his flagship product, in my opinion. It's the absolute best product that I've used in all my years of detailing, and I have a lot of products. It's about $150 a gallon, maybe $155. Maybe it's gone up a little bit over the years. But, you know, it's a concentrated product. So if you look on the back, it says, you know, you're going to mix it at 2.5 ounces for a gallon of water for detail spray. So you can make 51 gallons of detail spray for about $3 a gallon. I mean, that's just phenomenally cheap in the end. So I do have it mixed up at the detail spray ratio, which I'll use from time to time. But in general, when I wash the car, I'll take 1 ounce of that product and I'll put it in a bucket with 2 ounces of water. I'm sorry, 2 gallons of water. So I'm going to put 2 gallons in there. I'm not going to use the whole 2 gallons. Maybe I'll use a quarter gallon. I don't know, to wash the car. I don't usually measure how much I use. So these cars obviously look very clean. They're somewhat soiled. It really doesn't matter. I'm not trying to demonstrate how clean this method gets the car. I'm trying to demonstrate the method by which I clean the cars. When you're done, they're going to be clean. So, so again, 1 ounce for 2 gallons of water. If the car is really dirty, what I would recommend is you use the 2-bucket wash method. So you'll have a bucket with clean water, a bucket with your solution. You'll take the mitt out. You'll wash a section of the car, put the mitt in the clean water bucket to rinse it, put it back in your soap bucket, clean another section of the car. In the end, your soap or your solution bucket won't have any contaminants in it. It'll be clean, so you can put a lid on it and use it 2 days later. So I'll usually run a whole week with this 1 2-gallon bucket, and then I'll drain it and put a fresh 2 gallons in with another ounce of product. So that's how I do it. I also use a sprayer. Garry Dean has the Garry Dean wash method. It's his method. He uses microfiber towels in the bucket. He'll put, I don't know, 10 of them in there, and then he'll use a towel per section of the car. I don't like to do that because I don't feel like washing all those microfiber towels, so I'll just use the wash mitt. And it's a genuine sheepskin wash mitt. I've had this one for a few years, and you know, it's still going strong. So if you take care of them, if you take them out of the bucket when you're done and rinse them and let them dry, they'll last you years. So that's that. I use a simple pump sprayer. And the whole purpose of that is to pre-spray the car, and I'm going to show you that in a second, and that's to lift any of the contaminants off before I go ahead and wash it with the sheepskin wash mitt. And then I use the Griot's spray-on wax as a drying aid. Now, you don't have to use the Griot's. You can simply dry your car how you normally would with a waffle weave towel, or you can blow it off with a leaf blower. But I do use the spray-on wax. Now, the Infinite Use Detail Juice is in itself, not only will clean the car, but it seals the paint. So you'll never have to put a sealant on your car, a sealant, a wax, or a coating, if you use the Infinite Use Detail Juice on a regular basis. It's proven. I've had my cars, this particular one on the left is only 3 years old, but the one on the right is 8 years old. So you'll never have to use a sealant or coating or wax if you use the Infinite Use Detail Juice regularly. And Garry Dean has some other systems you might want to check out. So I typically do a pre-spray. It's very quick. I go around the whole car. I spray it down. And I'm only going to do the back in here for demo purposes. And that's it. And I'll do that around the whole car, and then I'll come back to where I started spraying, and that's where I'll start washing. Now, typically you'll start at the roof line, so I'll typically spray the roof first, and then I'll work my way down the car and do the rocker panel areas, the bumpers, etc. last, right? Because that's where most of the contaminants are, and you don't want to get your wash mitt super contaminated at the bottom and then go up to the top and mar it all up. So just work from the top down, and then when you're all done, you'll go ahead and get your waffle weave towel and start drying it. So at this point, I let it sit on the car for a few minutes, and then I'll take my wash mitt, wring it out, not so it's completely wrung out, but you want it to drip some. And then I just put it on the car, and I'll wash it sort of in the traditional way. So I'll probably do, you know, I would do this whole back side, at least the upper part of it. You know, and I would do the top parts of the quarter panels here, etc. And then I'll put it back in the solution bucket to rinse it. Again, if it's dirty, use a water bucket first. So then you're left with this end state, right? So then you would go ahead and you get your waffle weave towel and you start drying it. That's it. Car gets dry and you leave behind protection. Okay? It's that simple. Now, what'll often happen, especially if your waffle weave drying towel is dry to start with, you're going to get a lot of these small little water trails, and that frustrates a lot of people. And so they'll keep going over that section again and again to get it dry. They're still there. All right? Reason being is dry waffle weave or dry microfiber towels in general don't absorb as well as wet ones. It's a proven fact. So, you know, as this gets wetter, it's going to go ahead and dry the car better. If it's super saturated, it's not going to, but you'll get the idea. Now, you could easily solve this problem by, let me wet it again so I can show you, by using the spray-on wax. And I'll tell you right now, the spray-on wax is used incorrectly by the majority of people. Go ahead and read the instructions. It doesn't necessarily say to spray on a dry car. It's meant to be sprayed on a wet car. And that's where it really proves itself. So there you go. That's where I was earlier. I'm not going to go ahead and dry it just yet. I'm going to take my spray-on wax and I'm going to spray it. Like, you don't need to use globs of it. Just go ahead and spray it down. And then go ahead and take your microfiber waffle weave drying towel or whatever method you use. Again, I'm going to use the dry side. It actually is dry. And I'm going to dry it. What's going to be fairly interesting here is that it's not going to dry completely, but you're not going to be left with the same type of water trails that you were left with earlier. What you're left with is more of a smearing effect. So basically you're taking that wax and you're smearing it on the paint, and then a lot of people get frustrated and say, wow, this is terrible product, it's smearing all over my paint, and they usually go ahead and throw it in the garbage. Or they'll go on a forum and they'll say, hey, this product doesn't work. At this point, leave it alone. You went ahead and you dried that section. Go on to the next section. Keep doing the whole car that way. Spray the whole car down with the spray-on wax. Go back with your microfiber waffle weave towel and then dry it off. I can assure you that in the end, all this hazing that you're seeing will just clear up. Okay, and that's the beauty of the product. You're not going to be left with any small little water trails or beading or anything. See the hazing? It's just going to go ahead and evaporate now, and it evaporates clear. So you can actually see now on the top part of the trunk, it's absolutely clear. Unfortunately, it's super humid here in Florida already, so it's going to take a while. This section here is still drying, but you don't have to worry about it. It's going to dry up clear like this. You can see it. It's absolutely perfect. So the spray-on wax is a phenomenal product. Now, do you need to use it all the time. No, you can go ahead and keep wiping over the section to get your car to dry. You know what, if you induce marring, you induce marring. You can go ahead and polish it out. But the spray on wax, not only does it add even more protection to the infinite use detail juice, it's just super easy to use. I don't know why anybody would not want to use it. Now, the infinite use detail juice leaves behind its own protection, so you don't need, again, to use the spray on wax. I'm just showing it as, number one, a pretty phenomenal product that I think is misused regularly, and to ease your drying. You'll see here it's starting to dry now on the panel here. I mean, I don't know how well I can, or how much better I can get it for you. It's not leaving behind any residue at all. So go ahead and give it a try, see what you think. If you have any questions, let me know. I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Bye.